There are 3 ambulances and a dozen Ukrainian volunteers on the parking lot of the English football club West Ham. This is a departure point for the convoy of humanitarian aid for Ukraine. It's because one of the ambulances was bought by West Ham midfielder Andriy Yarmolenko.
It was loaded with essential food and medicine for the hospital.
These volunteers have already sent home more than 30 ambulances. They helped the football player to find a vehicle and fill it with humanitarian aid.
I'm Ukrainian, like every Ukrainian who's now abroad. We are trying to help people somehow. And if this ambulance saves at least one life, then I and all these people who helped me with purchase of it, they will all be happy.
London volunteers have also found a driver who will take the ambulance to its destination for free. It will go to Yarmolenko's war-torn hometown of Chernihiv.
Anyway, I think it's the best city in the world.
When the war broke out, Andriy's wife and eldest son were in Ukraine. They were quickly evacuated, but the footballer's parents stayed in Chernihiv and survived all the horrors of the occupation.
Of course, I'm aware of everything that happened there from the beginning of the war, and it's still happening, because I have my family and my friends there, and of course, it's hard to talk about it.
The footballer knows for sure that an ambulance is vitally needed for his hometown. The Briton who volunteered to take it shows Andriy how the vehicle works.
Are they on now?
This ambulance, although second-hand, was fully serviced and ready to continue working.
It's not legally an ambulance right now, so we're not allowed to drive with the lights on, because if you drive without the lights, the speed is limited to maybe 65, 70 miles an hour. When you put the lights on, it's unlimited.
Aled will not only bring an ambulance to Ukraine, but he also plans to stay to volunteer. He is a surgeon by profession, so he hopes his skills will come in handy.
We don't have, battles in the UK. We have car accidents and some accidents, but so I think my experience with that will be limited, to be honest. But I don't know. Perhaps medical workers in Ukraine perhaps didn't have so much experience until very recently. I don't know. But I'll try and find out.
Yarmolenko also met another volunteer driver. This is Michael Jenkins from Wales. This is not the first time Michael will go to Ukraine. Just last December, he returned home when his 3-year contract with the Ukrainian Armed Forces ended.
My experience of Donbass was more a static defensive line, and we were there just to protect Ukraine from any advancement, but obviously things have changed, and it's a lot worse now than it's ever been.
Michael is a professional soldier who served in the Royal Marines.
The military in Ukraine and the military in Britain are very different, but Ukraine's military is very new as well. It's grown. It's come such a long way in such a short time that it's the passion there, it's the camaraderie, it's the brotherhood, sisterhood as well. Everyone's there for one purpose, and the one purpose is to make Ukraine safe.
During his service in the armed forces, Ukraine became Michael's home, and not just metaphorically. He married a Ukrainian woman who helped him with translations, and he's going back to the front line to bring the victory at least a little bit closer.
And if people die, they die, but I believe it's for the freedom of not just Ukraine, it's for the freedom of Europe, it's the freedom of my family who live in Ukraine, it's for the freedom of people living in Germany, France, because it's just going to have a big knock-on effect. So,
London volunteers are doing their best to help the people in Ukraine defend their homeland.
It's nothing what we are doing compared to what our guys are doing on the front line. It's just like a desire to offer support, to thank them for what they do, just to show that we are all Ukrainians. We must all be together now.
Sharing an interest in football, Surgeon Aled proved to be a devoted fan of the Welsh national team.
I actually just wondered whether Ukraine had played Wales before, and I looked on the internet and I found out that Wales played Ukraine in 2016, just as a friendly match before the European Championship, and it was 1-0 to Ukraine, and Yarmolenko scored the only goal, right? So it's nice to meet him, but hopefully he's not breaking my heart today.
Now the signature of this Ukrainian football player is on his Welsh t-shirt, and the two teams are very likely to meet at the beginning of June.
I'll wear this on the 5th of June, so...
But then you'll be
You will be
cheering
proud
for
anyway.
Andriy, obviously.
I'll be happy whoever
You will
wins.
be proud. You will be proud because we will.
I think football will be the winner. Yeah. Thank you so much.
These balls from the London club, signed by Yarmolenko, will also go to charity. They'll be put up for auction.
All Ukrainians, and not only Ukrainians, are just proud that we have such people in our country, that we are all together now and will do everything possible to win. Thank you all for your help. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.
3 more ambulances from Britain will work on the roads of Ukraine next week. One goes to Kyiv, the other to Chernihiv, and this one to Borodyanka. And London volunteers are already looking for the next ones to send home.
Світлана Чернецька, Юрій Романюк, подробиці, британське бюро телеканалу «Інтер», марафон «Єдині новини».